Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng extended his hand, and strands of sector beast power appeared, quickly combining to form a seemingly perfect structure. Morosa looked on in surprise. His master's divine power could also transform into the power of sector beast, which Morosa had long known. But this body refinement breakthrough had only been achieved by him after a long period in the primal chaos realm. It looks similar on the surface, but there are some differences inside, Morosa observed carefully and said. A miss is as good as a mile. Luo Feng nodded. My realm in the destruction of the origin is not as good as yours. I can't mimic it perfectly. Only by fully understanding the composition of a substance can one transform perfectly. Otherwise, one could only disguise its surface at most. For example, he had seen a godly king up close. The surface disguise could be very similar, but the internal differences were vast. Moreover, it lacks realm. The realm within your body is the core of the body refining method. It's the key to why your body is so strong. Luo Feng shook his head, knowing that no matter how he transformed, he could not produce a realm. Luo Feng looked at the structure of sector beast power floating above his palm. It seems perfect, but in reality, it is unstable and could collapse at any moment. Morosa watched from the side. He couldn't assist his master. His growth came from eating and drinking naturally. The thought of researching secret techniques gave him a headache. You can go about your business. Luo Feng waved his hand, sending Morosa away. Luo Feng was alone, silently observing the floating structure of sector beast power before him. It was so beautiful. The body refining method that Morosa, a darling of destruction origin, had mastered, was perhaps considered among the very top of its class across the entire land of origin. Buzz. Luo Feng extended his hand to disperse the sector beast power structure, and began to form it with divine power. The divine power formed an identical structure, but it seemed so strange. No, this is completely wrong. Luo Feng shook his head. Alone inside Star Tower, Luo Feng attempted to modify, simplify, and integrate his ideas, using all means, but failing to come up with a stable divine power structure. With insufficient realm, relying on mere imitation to research a set of body refining methods is indeed wishful thinking, Luo Feng said with a light smile, dispersing the dozen or so divine power structures in the air. I will need to accumulate enough realm, and then explore slowly. Luo Feng looked toward the distance. In the corner of this layer of space, a small space was sealed off, where 15 primal chaos layer creatures were flying joyfully. As long as they were fed a sufficient amount of primal chaos crystals, they lived carefree lives. In the past, Luo Feng often observed primal chaos layer creatures, but after breaking through to the primal chaos realm, their value to him had diminished. A thought struck Luo Feng. Primal chaos layer creatures, their structure is incredibly simple, and I have studied them many times. Luo Feng pondered. I can try to transform. The formless and intangible ability of the perfect life form had failed on Morosa's body refining method, but now Luo Feng had his sights set on the primal chaos layer creatures. Transform. Luo Feng pointed his finger. Immediately a silver droplet formed. This silver droplet was incredibly stable. I understand the primal chaos laws. This silver droplet creature is the one I have studied the most, and it is originally formed from droplets of silver. Luo Feng revealed a smile. Primal chaos divine power surged, and one after another silver droplet formed. A total of 120 silver droplets floated. Luo Feng smiled as he watched, but gradually his brows furrowed. This is wrong. They can't fuse. Luo Feng tried to touch the silver droplets together, but they still couldn't merge. A real silver droplet creature would actively fuse together, and its power would undergo a qualitative change. But why can't these silver droplets I transformed merge? Why can't they merge? Luo Feng pondered. Could it be that I haven't thoroughly researched their essence? To fully understand is to perfectly transform. In the epoch of the primordial cosmos, he had confirmed his capability of formless and intangible. This silver droplet has a relatively simple structure. What else have I not seen through? Luo Feng beckoned with his hand, and immediately captured the longest silver light creature formed from 1091 silver droplets. In front of Luo Feng, now in the primal chaos realm, this silver light creature had no ability to resist. It was rapidly split into a silver droplet. Whoosh! With a gentle swipe of Luo Feng's finger, the silver droplet was sliced apart, dissolving into silver mist and visualized primal chaos laws. This silver mist is just a condensed form of chaotic power. This visualization of the primal chaos laws. Luo Feng's expression changed, as he immediately noticed the issue. Previously, as an eternal true God, he determined at a glance that this was a visualization of the primal chaos laws. But now, having grasped the primal chaos laws and become part of the primal chaos realm, he recognized the problem. This is indeed a visualization of the primal chaos laws, containing the characteristics of primal chaos gold and water of primal chaos. But it has a hint of spirituality, Luo Feng realized. He had simply copied the primal chaos laws visualization, he understood directly. Yet in reality, the primal chaos laws visualization within the silver droplets seemed alive. As if it had come alive. Possessing spirituality of primal chaos laws. Luo Feng's complexion changed slightly. In the land of origin region of the primordial cosmos, an incarnation of Luo Feng's divine power headed straight for the primordial cosmos. The primordial cosmos, at the source ground, that core location. Great Tao of life origin. Luo Feng had come here again, looking up at the towering Great Tao of life origin. It had different aspects, and from different perspectives, it appeared differently. After grasping the primal chaos laws, Luo Feng felt that understanding the Great Tao of life origin seemed not so difficult anymore. My previous realm was too weak. I actually thought that silver droplet creatures contained only the complete primal chaos laws. I was wrong, so wrong. Luo Feng, facing the vast Great Tao of life origin, knew he was mistaken. This endless twisting dragon before him could be viewed from various angles, and one could also see a winding dragon bone connecting the whole body. The information contained within this winding dragon bone allowed Luo Feng to vaguely see flowers blooming, fuzzy creatures breaking out of their shells. An ancient tree that had lived for countless years, one day, suddenly cultivated spirituality, it came alive and became a plant life. The spirit of life is the starting point of life. A touch of the spirit of life can even bring a stubborn stone to life, turning it into a rock-type creature. Silver droplet creatures don't have a clear consciousness, they can't think or communicate. But the essence of their life is very high, Luo Feng pondered, even the most basic element of their life structure, a silver droplet, contains life spirituality. Like humans, like many animals. In their blood, bones, muscles, and so on, there is no spirituality. Only when a soul merges with the body does it count as a life. Without a soul, it is just a walking corpse. Even true gods of void space, eternal true gods, each one is like this, the soul is fundamental. Some plant life cultivate a bit of spirituality from the whole plant. Whereas silver droplet creatures, each silver droplet of theirs contains life spirituality. This makes the life that finally comes together extraordinarily powerful. I originally thought its core was just the complete primal chaos laws. Now I know, its core is the primal chaos laws merged with the spirit of life. It's just that the spirituality isn't particularly high. Luo Feng looked at the dragon bone of this endless coiling dragon before him. Facing the origin of life, Luo Feng understood how terrifying it could be if the life spirituality was strong enough. A touch of spirituality can animate a stubborn rock. If every drop of divine power contained spirituality, how terrifying would that be? If it harbors strong spirituality, each portion of divine power would seem to come alive, fundamentally transforming. The strength, speed, and resilience of the godly body could soar rapidly. The godly body itself would become immensely powerful, virtually unshakable, Luo Feng thought, and if willing, each part of my divine power could develop its own consciousness, capable of giving birth to a new life. A single drop of my blood, guided by my will, can form another strong and vivid life. These vibrant lives are limited by the amount of power I bestow upon them. The more divine power I bestow, the larger this independent life becomes. If I were a godly king, I could differentiate my flesh and blood, and perhaps create thousands of primal chaos realm incarnations, Luo Feng mused. The flesh and blood I can divide are parts of my godly body. If I divide it out, I too would become weakened. The pathway of life spirituality. The so-called animating life, creating powerful incarnations are merely auxiliary uses. For those who have become godly kings along this path, their godly bodies are the most terrifying. Their godly bodies are an upgraded version of the silver droplet creatures. Parts of their flesh and blood can be condensed to form weapons. Destroying them is as difficult as destroying Emperor-level secret treasure weapons. With my humble realm, I can only glimpse a part of the path of life spirituality. Luo Feng looked at the endless coiling dragon before him. Perhaps there are other terrifying aspects. That ancestral god of the snow realm had mastered one of the branches of the great Tao of life origin. Its ability to preserve life reached an unbelievable extent. Despite immense sins, it still lives to this day. The great Tao of life origin has many branches. The more branches you master, the more terrifying you become. If you can merge many branches into one, mastering the complete great Tao of life origin, Luo Feng gazed up at the towering endless coiling dragon. An existence that has mastered the full great Tao of life origin is just like this endless winding dragon. Such a being is the embodiment of the concept of life itself. Life spirituality. Luo Feng sat cross-legged, carefully observing the vast origin great Tao, studying the dragon bone of the endless coiled dragon. Luo Feng knew his realm was shallow. He was only researching some information similar to the spirituality of the silver droplet creatures. When he could perfectly change the silver droplet creatures, it would represent a small achievement on the path of life spirituality. Days went by. In Luo Feng's eyes, there was only that dragon bone containing endless spiritual information, continuously absorbing the information. The more he understood, the deeper his understanding of the spirituality of the silver droplet creatures. Only time would tell how long it had been. The novel, et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. I should be able to change it now. Luo Feng, with a certain level of understanding of life spirituality, naturally gained confidence. A layer of space within the Star Tower. Luo Feng sat cross-legged, stretched out his hand and gently tapped, and a wisp of divine power transformed, bringing forth a droplet of silver liquid. This droplet of silver was an absolute spherical shape, its surface marked with traces of the primal chaos laws, imbued with the rhythm of life. It was like adding the finishing touch to a dragon in Earth's mythological stories. Once it contained life spirituality, the essence of this silver droplet had completely transformed. The novel, nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. How magical, Luo Feng observed as the silver droplet flowed in his palm. After fully comprehending the essence of the silver droplets, Luo Feng found that his consciousness naturally merged with them as he created them with the formless and intangible ability of the perfect divine body. The silver droplet felt like it was a part of his own body. That's right, even though silverlight creatures have extremely low intelligence, they are capable of feelings like joy, anger, attack, and so on. This silver droplet is capable of carrying consciousness, albeit an extremely weak one. Luo Feng waved his hand. A mass of primal chaos divine power flew out, transforming into thousands of silver droplets. Each of the silver droplets possessed spirituality. Upon manifesting, they instinctively sought to merge. Just like how human fingers naturally work together, these silver droplets naturally combined. This is a successfully transformed silver droplet. Luo Feng smiled. To carry consciousness and merge naturally were the abilities of the silver droplets. Thousands of silver droplets merged together, akin to numerous parts forming one complete machine, the power instantly undergoing a qualitative leap. They easily transformed into various weapons: silver blade light, silver sword light, silver long sticks, silver nets. Just in terms of strength and speed, it's already comparable to Yonghu of the unlimited godly bodies. It is only that the moves are somewhat clumsy. Luo Feng continued to sprinkle divine power, and produced a large number of silver droplets. The silver droplets kept converging, 3,000, 5,000, however, there was no significant change in power. When they accumulated to 10,000, they formed a stream of silver liquid. The might of this stream of silver liquid rose again. This silver-light creature is indeed peculiar, capable of continuous quality changes through accumulation. Luo Feng, curious, continued to produce a massive amount of silver droplets. 100,000, million, yet the power showed no obvious changes. Luo Feng painstakingly transformed silver droplets, and each one embodied weak life spirituality. Even such weak spirituality required some thought for Luo Feng. From initially producing thousands at a time, he grew more adept until he could create millions with a wave of his hand. Finally, when the count reached 100 million, another qualitative change occurred. Boom tilde tilde tilde. A silver river hung in the void. 100 million droplets perfectly merged into a whole. Even for me to destroy it would take some effort. Luo Feng swiped a hand across the silver river. The silver river was incredibly resilient and merely trembled slightly, dispersing. It's comparable to a newly advanced primal chaos realm being. Of course, it was only comparable to the strength of normal moves. Once a newly advanced primal chaos realm being burned its divine power, at its limit to fight desperately, increasing its power by several folds, it could still suppress this silver river. Can it continue to merge? Luo Feng tried. 200 million, 300 million, 1 billion. Luo Feng was patient, because the last qualitative change was from 10,000 to 100 million, a multiplier of 10,000 times. As Luo Feng transformed again and again, his understanding of the silver droplets deepened, and the quantity he could change increased more and more. In a sweep, he could produce tens of millions, hundreds of millions, even up to 1 billion droplets. But the silver river still showed no qualitative change. 1 trillion droplets. 2 trillion. As a cultivator, who had practiced for endless eons, Luo Feng was not in a hurry. Even if just to deepen his understanding of life spirituality, he continued to produce massive quantities of droplets. Finally, when he accumulated to the level of 10 quintillion droplets, the originally vast and scattered silver river naturally united to form a perfect whole. Whoosh 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 tilde 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 tilde. A broad silver river, hundreds of kilometers long, flowed mightily within the Star Tower. The strength of it amazed Luo Feng. Go. The mighty silver river suddenly thinned, transforming into a silver blade light tens of thousands of kilometers long. This was also its normal state. At this moment, it can be large or small. Luo Feng felt in the depths of his being that it was utterly perfect. Small, it could fit within the palm of a hand. Large, it could span across heaven and earth. It also far surpasses the previous might. Luo Feng felt that after another leap in toughness, strength, and speed, even with clumsy moves, it could be comparable to the casual moves of an ordinary primal chaos realm being. Ordinary primal chaos realm beings represented the most basic strength of the primal chaos realm. Those who've just broken through. They tend to lie low like Luo Feng is currently doing, cultivating combat secret techniques, life-saving secret laws, body-refining secret techniques, and so on, beginning to solidify their strength in all aspects. Normally, those who roam about, ordinary primal chaos realm beings are the weakest. Such cases are rare, perhaps 1 in 10 primal chaos realm beings is at this lowest level. Because beings of the primal chaos realm have infinite lifespans, even if they are part of a bloodline cultivation system, they usually attain the middle layer of the primal chaos realm standard given enough accumulation. For a primal chaos realm being with an unlimited godly body, once the godly body grows to its limit, that being is at the middle layer standard of the primal chaos realm. If they go on to cultivate some powerful secret techniques and their realm accumulates, their abilities improving in all aspects, only then can they be considered at the top of the primal chaos realm. The pinnacle of the primal chaos realm is quite impressive indeed. Marquis of Zhujiang is one such being. One step further. To touch the edge of the godly king. To master more than 99% of a branch of origin great Tao, leaving only the final breakthrough as the bottleneck. With such strength, one could be considered at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. Marquis Liu Yin is at this level. Under normal circumstances, the pinnacle of primal chaos realm is the strongest level for many second-rate and third-rate countries of primal chaos realm beings. Only under special circumstances, such as primal chaos realm beings from the two ancient countries who have cultivated secret laws surpassing that of Godly King's secret techniques, like Luo Feng's Lai Yuan technique, which also exceeds the Godly King's secret techniques. The elite of the primal chaos realm from these ancient countries surely have a few who can transcend the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. The silver river of 108 trillion droplets finally has the strength of an ordinary creature of the primal chaos realm with a simple wave of the hand. Normal creatures of the primal chaos layer indeed have clumsy moves and low intelligence. However, this is created by me, and it is my consciousness that controls it. My realm is certainly not considered low, Luo Feng revealed a smile. With a single thought, a vast expanse of silver blade light appeared in the air, carrying terrifying high speed. It instantly cut through the operation of the primal chaos laws, tearing apart numerous spatial layers, and created a black spatial ravine. Ordinary beings of the primal chaos realm could only manage so much with a full-strength blow using all their might to burn divine power, I suppose, Luo Feng thought. It also matches about 2 to 3 times the power of my previous all-out effort. Can it continue to stack up? Although he felt it was perfect, Luo Feng still continued to try. Now with one gesture, he could create hundreds of millions of silver droplets. The number continued to increase. Luo Feng treated it as a form of cultivation. Even though the perfect divine body had not grown to its limit, it was still quite immense. Luo Feng naturally could transform into a vast number of silver droplets. Every 108 trillion droplets of silver blade light, he regarded as one unit. Luo Feng transformed half of his current godly body into silver droplets. He had transformed into 1.2 billion units of silver blade light, but these silver droplets could no longer fuse together or undergo qualitative change. It seems that they cannot undergo further qualitative change, Luo Feng realized. At this moment, a vast silver ocean appeared within this level of space in the Star Tower, with Luo Feng sitting cross-legged atop this vast silver ocean. This was the silver ocean formed by the gathering of 1.2 billion units of silver blade light. These silver droplets have a few flaws, the first being that they very easily get hungry. And they can't absorb power from heaven and earth, they must rely on chaotic power, primal chaos crystals, or even more pure primal chaos divine power, Luo Feng pondered. Fortunately, my miniature universe supplies endless primal chaos divine power at all times. Maintaining these silver rivers is fairly easy. The second flaw is that they are not divine power and can't drive weapon secret treasures. If ordinary body refining methods are just about divine power exerting its might more efficiently, fundamentally, it is still divine power. But when Luo Feng transformed divine power into silver droplets, even the most basic unit was completely changed. From divine power into the form of silver droplets. Silver droplets can't autonomously absorb the power of heaven and earth, can't drive weapon secret treasures, and can't even burn like divine power. The third flaw is that they can't burn like divine power. Their normal state's power is already their limit, Luo Feng thought to himself. Creatures of the primal chaos layer still have quite a few weaknesses. But all of these weaknesses cannot cover up their advantages, Luo Feng was excited. A single unit of silverlight creature performing the primal chaos blade is comparable to an ordinary being of primal chaos realm, at the limit of burning divine power in a strike. What about 10 units then? With a single thought from Luo Feng, the immense silver ocean flew out with indeed 10 streaks of blade light. 10 streaks of blade light performed the same primal chaos blade, the might terrifying, as if 10 ordinary beings of the primal chaos realm were desperately burning divine power. For me, I need to divide my attention and multitask. My spiritual will is strong enough now, and my soul is strong enough, and the primal chaos blade is quite a simple move, Luo Feng tried it out. In mid-air, streaks of blade light rose up, continuously practicing the primal chaos blade. The Star Tower was extraordinarily stable, allowing Luo Feng to practice his moves to his heart's content. Eventually, A total of 300 streaks of blade light rose. 300 streaks of silver blade light, each one immense, each performing the primal chaos blade. As if 300 ordinary beings in primal chaos realm were giving their all in a full-strength strike. The might was already startling to Luo Feng. Boom tilde 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 tilde. Even if the skill level was low, the combined might of 300 streaks of silver blade light forcibly tore through a dense multitude of spatial layers. I have discovered a new body refining route, the law of transformation. Transforming into a myriad of forms, possessing the traits of special creatures, Luo Feng was very excited. Of course, this transformation method was unique to him. The ability to be formless and intangible was what made Luo Feng's divine power so easily transformable. The law of transformation is not a single Tao. Luo Feng faced the great Tao of life origin directly and understood this clearly. The ultimate form for a body should be understanding the profound rules that make the godly body powerful, as if one's very self is the convergence of the entire Tao. I am currently only in the primal chaos realm, and I haven't even grasped a branch of the Tao. A lot is lacking to seek the ultimate. Luo Feng was self-aware. In the early stages before mastering the complete Tao, being able to transform in endless ways holds many advantages, and helps in contemplating the Tao. With a thought from Luo Feng, he teleported Morosa into the Star Tower. Master, Morosa looked at his master eagerly. Morosa, let's have another sparring match, Luo Feng said to Morosa with a smile. Morosa was stunned. Another sparring session. Previously, even the master's full-strength blow could not break the skin of his palm. That was when he had completely restrained his own power. Master, why don't we wait until your godly body has grown to its limit before we spar? Morosa couldn't help but say the gap was too large. There was no point in sparring. One could stand there and let the master hit without breaking the skin. This video will end here.